3 weeks can feel like 3 years when you're lying to everyone you love. I stood in our warehouse at 2 a.m., alone except for security guards who pretended not to notice I was there, and stared at shipping manifests that all said the same thing in different words. You're complicit now. There's no going back. My phone buzzed. Francesco, like clockwork. We'd talked every night since I returned from Philadelphia. Video calls that started as business updates and ended as something else entirely. I answered, "You're up late. Can't sleep. Thinking about you." His face filled my screen, tired but smiling. "Why are you at the warehouse at 2 a.m.? "Can't sleep. Thinking about logistics." "Liar. You're thinking about consequences." He knew me too well already. "Nina, talk to me." "I'm fine." "You're standing alone in a warehouse in the middle of the night, reviewing manifests you've already reviewed 6 times. You're not fine." He was right. I hadn't been fine since I left Philadelphia. Every day felt like walking a tightrope. Smile at Mom. Coordinate with Gabriel. Fulfill Francesco's contracts. Pretend the armed guards were normal. Pretend the encrypted phone was normal. Pretend I was normal. Nothing was normal. Before we continue, click subscribe, like this video, and tell me in the comment section where you are watching from. Your support helps us bring more thrilling stories. And trust me, you won't want to miss them. Now, let's continue. I keep thinking about what you said, about not letting this consume everything, about keeping separation between business and personal. I set down the manifests. But Francesco, it's all consuming everything. I can't separate anymore. The business is you. My family's safety is you. My thoughts are you. There's no separation left. Then stop trying to separate. His voice was gentle. Nina, you're exhausting yourself trying to maintain boundaries that don't exist anymore. Accept that it's complicated and stop fighting the complexity. That sounds like giving up. That sounds like surviving. He shifted, and I could see he was in his office. Late night for him, too. Come back to Philadelphia next week. Even just for a weekend. You need a break. I can't just... Yes, you can. Gabriel can handle operations. Your mother is fine. Victoria will coordinate everything. He leaned closer to the camera. Nina, I need to see you. Not through a screen. Actually see you. I miss you too. Then come, Friday through Sunday. We'll figure out how to make this sustainable instead of letting it destroy you. Before I could answer, headlights swept across the warehouse windows. Wrong headlights, wrong car, wrong time. Francesco, someone's here. His expression changed instantly. Who? I don't know. Not security, wrong vehicle. I moved toward the office where I could see better. Black sedan. No plates visible. Nina, get away from the windows. Now. I'm just... The warehouse door exploded inward. Not opened. Exploded. Metal shrieking, hinges tearing. 3 men in tactical gear pouring through with military precision. I dropped my phone, heard Francesco shouting my name through the speaker. Ran. Made it 6 steps before someone grabbed me from behind, arm around my throat, gun pressed to my temple. Nina Collins. American accent. Professional. You're coming with us. Security guards were already down. I could see them on the floor, not dead but incapacitated. These people were professionals. Fast, efficient, terrifying. Who are you? People who want to have a conversation with Francesco Salvatore. He dragged me toward the destroyed door. You're the invitation. On the floor, my phone's screen still glowed. Francesco's face visible. Fury and fear warring in his expression. The man holding me noticed. Smiled. Picked up the phone. Hello, Francesco. Remember me? I couldn't hear Francesco's response, but I saw his expression change. Recognition, then rage, so pure it was almost physical. Yeah. It's been a while. The man's grip tightened on me. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to come to Sao Paulo. Alone. Unarmed. And you're going to bring me what you owe, or Nina's going to learn exactly how persuasive I can be. He ended the call. Threw my phone against the wall, shattering it. Dragged me into the night. The last thing I saw was Roberto's SUV screeching into the parking lot. Too late. Always too late. Before we continue, click subscribe, like this video, and tell me in the comment section where you are watching from. Your support helps us bring more thrilling stories. And trust me, you won't want to miss them. Now, let's get into the story. The week in Sao Paulo passed in a blur of logistics and lies. Hired 12 new workers, negotiated with textile cooperatives for increased volume, reviewed quality control processes with Paulo until my eyes crossed. Smiled at concerned neighbors who asked about the armed guards. Told Mom everything was fine. Watched Gabriel watch me with increasing suspicion. And every night, I video called Francesco. Started as business updates. Ended as something else. Conversations that lasted hours. Topics drifting from shipping manifests to philosophy to childhood stories neither of us had told anyone else. Thursday night, São Paulo time. My father used to test me, Francesco said, glass of bourbon in hand, tie loosened. Put me in impossible situations to see how I'd respond. Once, when I was 16, he had someone kidnap me. Actual kidnapping zip ties, blindfold, thrown in a van. Kept me in a basement for 3 days. Jesus Christ. Exactly what I said when he finally came to get me. Know what he said? Francesco smiled without humor. He said, "You didn't panic. You assessed the situation, conserved energy, waited for opportunity. You'll survive this life. That's abuse. That's preparation." He sipped his drink. And he was right. I did survive. Because he taught me fear is just information to process, not emotion to obey. Is that why you're so calm about everything? I'm not calm. I'm practiced. He leaned closer to the camera. Nina, I have anxiety attacks. Take medication for them. See a therapist twice a month, though. I can't tell her what I actually do, which makes therapy somewhat useless. You have a therapist? Victoria insists. Says mental health maintenance is operational security. He smiled. She's not wrong. Can't make good decisions if your brain's constantly flooded with cortisol. Does the therapist know you're... She knows I work in high-stress business operations with complicated ethics. That's technically true. He set down his glass. Point is, I'm not some emotionless criminal mastermind. I'm just someone who learned to function despite constant fear. You'll learn too. I don't want to learn. I want this to be temporary. It is temporary. Just might last years instead of weeks. He read my expression. I know that's not comforting, but I won't lie to you. This is your life now. The question is whether you let it destroy you, or whether you find ways to stay human inside it. How do you stay human? Bourbon helps. Therapy helps. Victoria yelling at me when I make stupid decisions helps. He paused. And lately, talking to you helps. My chest tightened. Francesco. I know, complicated. Everything with us is complicated. He ran a hand through his hair. But you asked how I stay human. Answer is, I find people who remind me why humanity matters. You're becoming one of those people. I shouldn't be. No, you shouldn't be. Operationally inefficient, emotionally dangerous, strategically questionable. He smiled. But I'm finding I don't care. We stared at each other through screens separated by 5,000 miles. I'm coming back to Philadelphia tomorrow, I said quietly. I know, Victoria has your itinerary. Francesco, what are we doing? Business, protection, partnership. He leaned back. And maybe something else we're both too smart to name yet. That's a terrible idea. Most things about this arrangement are terrible ideas. Haven't stopped us so far. Friday morning, I landed in Philadelphia with Gabriel. He'd agreed to come after Mom insisted. Vê como funciona esse negócio. Julga por você mesmo. See how this business works. Judge for yourself. Roberto had arranged everything. Business class flights, hotel rooms, car service. Gabriel spent the flight alternating between excitement about visiting America and suspicion about why criminals were funding his sister's life. Nina, você sabe que isso é insano, né? Nina, you know this is insane, right? Sim. Yes. Mas você está fazendo mesmo assim. But you're doing it anyway. Sim. Yes. Por quê? Porque a alternativa é pior. Because the alternative is worse. He was quiet for a long time. Then, você gosta dele? Não gosta. You like him, don't you? Quem? Who? Oh, criminoso. Francesco. Você gosta dele? The criminal, Francesco. You like him. I should have denied it. Should have said it was just business, just survival, just pragmatic partnership. Instead, não sei. I don't know. Nina. Eu não sei, Gabi. I don't know, Gabi. Ele é perigoso e complicado e provavelmente vai destruir minha vida eventualmente. Mas ele também me salvou. Salvou a gente. E quando eu falo com ele, eu me sinto menos sozinha nisso tudo. He's dangerous and complicated and probably going to destroy my life eventually. But he also saved me. Saved us. And when I talk to him, I feel less alone in all this. Isso não é amor, Nina. É síndrome de Estocolmo. That's not love, Nina. That's Stockholm Syndrome. Eu sei a diferença. Sabe, do you? I didn't answer. Francesco met us at the airport. Just him, no security detail, no Victoria, no performance, jeans, leather jacket, looking more human than I'd ever seen him. He shook Gabriel's hand. Prazer conhecê-lo, Gabriel. Pleasure to meet you, Gabriel. Gabriel's eyes widened. Você fala português? You speak Portuguese. Pouco. Aprendi porque é útil para negócios. A little. Learned it because it's useful for business. Francesco smiled. E porque sua irmã é importante para mim. And because your sister is important to me. He said it casually, like commenting on weather. But Gabriel heard what I heard, the admission underneath the words. In the car, Gabriel asked, So, hotels. You own hotels? Buying them. Deal closes next month. Francesco navigated Philadelphia traffic with easy confidence. 7 properties. Need reliable suppliers who won't raise regulatory flags. Your family's business is perfect for that. Because we're small and desperate. Because you're small and reputable. There's a difference. Francesco glanced in the rearview mirror. Gabriel, I'm not going to pretend I'm a good person. I'm not. But I keep my word about protection and payment. Your sister took a risk on me. I'm honoring that. By making us complicit in money laundering. By making you wealthy partners in legitimate import-export operations that happen to also serve my other interests. He smiled slightly. The textiles you sell me are real. The coffee is real. The quality is real. The only thing that's questionable is who's buying them. And that's my moral problem, not yours. That's convenient logic. It's survival logic. Same kind your sister used when she took my deal. Francesco pulled up to our hotel boutique. Elegant, probably his property. You can hate me, Gabriel. Most people do eventually. But hate me for real reasons, not imagined ones. I'm not forcing your family into anything. I'm offering options. Your sister chose this one. Gabriel got out without responding. Inside the hotel, Francesco handed me a key card. Your rooms. Adjoining suites, 6th floor. Victoria will brief you both at 3 p.m. on tomorrow's schedule. Tonight, you're free. Order room service, explore the city, whatever you want. You're not staying? I have other business. But tomorrow, he smiled. Tomorrow, you see the whole operation. Meet the hotel managers, tour the properties, understand what you're actually supplying. Should help Gabriel stop imagining I'm the devil. And if the tour doesn't help, then at least he'll hate me with accurate information. He touched my arm briefly, quick, almost unconscious gesture. Get some rest. Tomorrow's a long day. He left before I could respond. Gabriel and I took the elevator in silence. In my suite, I collapsed on the bed, exhausted from travel, from stress, from constantly performing competence I didn't feel. Gabriel appeared in the connecting doorway. Nina. Sim? Ele te olha diferente. He looks at you differently. Como assim? Como se você importasse. Não como negócio. Como se você importasse. Like you matter. Not like business. Like you matter. I stared at the ceiling. I know. E você? Como você olha para ele? Gabi, eu estou cansada. Como você olha para ele, Nina? I closed my eyes. The same way. Puta merda. Holy shit. Língua gem. Language. Nossa irmã está se apaixonando por mafioso e você quer que eu cuide da linguagem? Our sister is falling for a mobster and you want me to watch my language? Eu não estou me apaixonando. Você acabou de admitir que olha para ele como se ele importasse. You just admitted you look at him like he matters. Isso não é a mesma coisa. É exatamente a mesma coisa. It's exactly the same thing. He sat on the edge of my bed. Nina. Ele é perigoso. Você sabe que ele é perigoso. Nina, he's dangerous. You know he's dangerous. Oisai. E você gosta dele mesmo assim. Eu não disse isso. Você não precisou. You didn't need to. We sat in silence. Finally, Gabriel said, Oh, papai ficaria maluco.com isso. Dad would be furious about this. Oisai. E a mamãe, ela não ia entender. And mom, she wouldn't understand. Oisai. Mas você vai fazer mesmo assim, não é? But you're going to do it anyway, aren't you? I looked at him. My little brother who'd become a man in the last week, who'd watched our family nearly burn and helped me save it, who saw too much, understood too much, forgave too much. Eu não sei o que vou fazer. I don't know what I'm going to do. Só sei que quando eu falo com ele, eu me sinto menos perdida. I just know when I talk to him, I feel less lost. Nina, você não tá perdida. Você tá só. Deslocada. Nina, you're not lost. You're just displaced. Mas ainda é você. Não esquece disso. But you're still you. Don't forget that. Estou tentando. I'm trying. Tenta mais. Try harder. He left, closing the connecting door behind him. I lay on the hotel bed and tried to remember who Nina Collins was before Francesco Salvatore. Couldn't. She'd been erased, replaced by this new version who read security protocols and discussed money laundering and felt something dangerously close to affection for a man who'd killed people. My phone buzzed. Text from Francesco. Sleep. Tomorrow you see whether I'm worth the compromise. I typed back. And if you're not, then you'll know. And knowing is better than wondering. Saturday morning, Victoria appeared at 8 a.m. with coffee and efficiency. Schedule: 9 a.m. tour of hotel properties, noon lunch with management teams, 3 p.m. supplier coordination meeting, 7 p.m. dinner. She handed me a tablet. All locations, all contacts, all talking points. Gabriel gets modified version, less operational detail, more legitimate business focus. So we're lying to him. We're protecting him with selective truth. There's a difference. She looked at me seriously. Nina, Gabriel's smart. He'll figure out more than we want him to know. But the less he knows specifically, the safer he is if anyone ever questions him. You mean if federal agents question him? I mean if anyone questions him. Feds, competitors, journalists, whoever. She pulled up documents on the tablet. Your family's legitimacy is your best protection. Keep them as legitimate as possible. The hotel tour was surprisingly normal. 4 properties in Philadelphia converted historic buildings. Elegant, but not ostentatious. Francesco met us at each one, introducing us to managers, showing operational details, explaining supply needs. Luxury linens, premium bedding, exclusive coffee service and suites. He gestured around a room. Everything high-end, everything documented, everything legitimate. Your family's reputation adds authenticity. Gabriel asked smart questions. Supply chain logistics, quality control, delivery schedules, sounding like the Penn State student he should be instead of the warehouse worker he'd become. Francesco answered everything directly, treating Gabriel like a colleague instead of a suspicious family member. At the 3rd property, Gabriel pulled me aside. Nina, isso é real. Nina, this is real. Ok. Os hotéis, o negócio, não é só fachada. Ele realmente está operando hotéis legítimos. The hotels, the business, it's not just a front. He's really operating legitimate hotels. Eu te falei. Não, você não entende. No, you don't understand. Eu pensei que seria óbvio. Operações falsas, livros fraudulentos. Mas isso é profissional. Real. Ela está realmente construindo negócio. I thought it would be obvious. Fake operations, fraudulent books. But this is professional, real. He's actually building a business. That's the point, Francesco said in Portuguese, appearing behind us. A melhor fachada é não ter fachada. Operações reais, lucros reais, tudo legítimo. As out-risk coisas acontecem em paralelo, não através disso. The best front is no front. Real operations, real profits, everything legitimate. The other things happen parallel, not through this. Gabriel turned. You heard that? Hotel acoustics, sound carries. Francesco smiled slightly. Gabriel, I know you think I'm using your family. Maybe I am. But I'm also building something that will outlast me. These hotels will be successful with or without my other operations. Your family's products will be in demand with or without me. I'm creating value, not just extracting it. That's still criminal, yes, I'm aware. Francesco gestured around the hotel. But it's also pragmatic. Your sister understood that when she took my deal. I'm hoping you can too. Why do you care if I understand? Because you're Nina's family. And she cares about you. Which means I care about you operationally, if not personally. He said it matter-of-factly. I don't need you to like me. But I need you to not sabotage your sister's survival because of moral absolutism. Gabriel was quiet for a long moment. Then, I'm not going to sabotage anything. Nina made her choice. I support her even if I don't like it. That's more than I hoped for. Francesco checked his watch. Lunch in 30 minutes. Management teams are expecting us. The lunch was performance art. 5 hotel managers, all professionals, all clearly unaware Francesco was anything beyond a savvy investor. They discussed occupancy rates, guest satisfaction scores, premium service strategies. I presented our family's products, textile samples, coffee varieties, quality certifications, all real, all impressive, all exactly what luxury hotels needed. They loved it, asked detailed questions, placed preliminary orders on the spot. Walking out, Gabriel said quietly, "Isso foi real também. Elas não sabem? That was real too. They don't know, do they? No. Eles acham que ele é só investidor limpo. No. They think he's just a clean investor. E a gente vai fornecedor produtos legítimos para a operação legítima que esconde negócios ilegais em outro lugar. And we're going to supply legitimate products to a legitimate operation that hides illegal business elsewhere. Exatamente. Exactly. Isso é inteligente. That's smart. É Francesco. It's Francesco. Gabriel looked at me. Você tá apaixonada por ele? You're in love with him. No. Nina. Não, Gabi. Eu não estou apaixonada. No, Gabi. I'm not in love. Eu respeito a inteligência dele, a estratégia, a forma como ele protege as coisas que importam para ele. I respect his intelligence, the strategy, the way he protects what matters to him. Isso é amor, só que você não quer admitir. That's love. You just won't admit it. Maybe he was right. Maybe I'd fallen for Francesco Salvatore somewhere between Philadelphia galas and São Paulo security briefings, between bourbon-fueled video calls and hotel tours showing me he was more complex than simple criminal. Maybe I'd fallen for someone who saw me as more than desperate supplier, who called security integration personal, who protected my family like they were his own. Maybe I was an idiot. Probably both. The supplier coordination meeting was Victoria's domain. She walked us through logistics with military precision, delivery schedules, quality checkpoints, payment structures, emergency protocols if anything went wrong. Gabriel took notes. Professional. Focused. Clearly understanding the scale of what we were committing to. When Victoria finished, she looked at us both. Questions? What happens if we can't meet a delivery deadline? Gabriel asked. Penalties as outlined in Section 9 of the contract. Financial, not physical. She smiled slightly. Francesco doesn't hurt business partners for logistics failures. He just charges them for the inconvenience. And if we want to terminate the contract? 30-day notice, full repayment of initial investment, penalty clauses as outlined in Section 12. She pulled up the relevant clauses. Expensive, but legal. You're not trapped, Gabriel. Just significantly incentivized to continue. He nodded slowly. Okay. Okay? I asked. Okay. He looked at me. A gente consegue fazer isso. É trabalho duro, mas é possível. E pelo menos ele é honesto sobre as armadilhas. We can do this. It's hard work, but it's possible. And at least he's honest about the traps. Victoria smiled. Actually smiled, warmth reaching her eyes. Smart kid. You'll do well in this arrangement. Dinner was just Francesco, Gabriel, and me. Small restaurant, Francesco's property, closed to public for the evening. Private conversation without performance. Francesco ordered wine. Good wine. The kind that probably cost more than our monthly warehouse rent. Gabriel. Honest question. Are you going back to university? Gabriel glanced at me, then back to Francesco. Can't afford it. Family needs me. What if you could afford it? I don't understand. I'm offering scholarship funding, full tuition, living expenses, books. You finish your degree, come back to help run operations with proper education. Francesco sipped his wine. Smart business operators need education. I'm investing in your family's long-term success. That's strategic. Your sister needs reliable partners. Your family, which means trustworthy. But you need training to be truly effective. He looked at Gabriel seriously. This isn't charity, it's investment. I expect you to succeed, graduate, return ready to scale operations. Can you do that? Gabriel stared at him. Você tá oferecendo me mandar pra faculdade? You're offering to send me to college? Estou oferecendo investir na sua educação porque é bom negócio. I'm offering to invest in your education because it's good business. Você aceita? Do you accept? Gabriel looked at me. I saw the question in his eyes. Is this real? Is this a trap? Should I trust him? I nodded slightly. He turned back to Francesco. Yes, I accept. Good. Victoria will handle arrangements. You start next semester. Francesco refilled wine glasses. To strategic investments and smart partnerships. We drank. After dinner, Francesco drove us back to the hotel. Gabriel disappeared into his room immediately, clearly overwhelmed. I lingered in the hallway. Why did you do that? I asked Francesco. Do what? Offer to pay for Gabriel's education. That's significant investment. Your family needs educated operators. Gabriel's smart, loyal, and connected to you. Makes sense to develop that asset. He said it matter-of-factly. Plus, you worry about him. This solves that problem. You're doing this because I worry? I'm doing this because it's operationally sound and personally satisfying. Win-win. He smiled slightly. Don't read too much into it. Francesco. Nina. He stepped closer. Tomorrow you fly back to São Paulo. Resume operations, fulfill contracts, build the business. We'll talk on video calls, coordinate through Victoria, maintain professional distance. Another step. But tonight, before you go, I need you to understand something. What? This isn't just business for me anymore. He said it quietly, almost reluctant. You're not just a supplier or an asset or a strategic partnership. You're something I didn't plan for and don't quite know how to handle. And that terrifies me more than any threat I've ever faced. My breath caught. Francesco, we can't. I know. Operationally inefficient, emotionally dangerous, strategically questionable. He echoed our earlier conversation. But I'm finding I don't care. He kissed me. Gentle, tentative, like asking permission. His hand cupped my face like I was something precious and fragile. I should have pulled away. Should have maintained professional boundaries. Should have remembered he was a criminal and I was desperate and nothing good could come from this. Instead, I kissed him back. When we finally separated, he rested his forehead against mine. This is a terrible idea, I whispered. Most things about us are terrible ideas, haven't stopped us so far. He smiled. Get some sleep. Long flight tomorrow. He left before I could respond. I stood in the hotel hallway, hand pressed to my lips, trying to process what had just happened. I'd kissed Francesco Salvatore. I'd kissed the man who'd saved my family and endangered my soul. I'd kissed someone who made me feel alive and terrified in equal measure. And I wanted to do it again. The flight back to São Paulo was turbulence literal and metaphorical. Gabriel spent 6 hours alternating between excited planning about returning to university and suspicious questions about what exactly had happened between Francesco and me after dinner. Nina, você beijou ele, não foi? Nina, you kissed him, didn't you? Como você? Porque você voltou pro quarto parecendo quem viu fantasma e ficou meio sorrindo pro nada por uma hora. Because you came back to the room looking like you'd seen a ghost and kept half smiling at nothing for an hour. I couldn't deny it. Couldn't explain it either. Gabi é complicado. Tudo com você é complicado. Everything with you is complicated. A pergunta é, você sabe no que tá se metendo? The question is, do you know what you're getting into? No. No. Mas você vai fazer mesmo assim. Não sei. I don't know. Talvez. Provavelmente. Maybe. Probably. He was quiet for a long time, then. Oh, papai odiar isso. Dad would hate this. Oisai. Mas, talvez ele entendesse. No final. Depois que passasse a raiva. But, maybe he'd understand. Eventually. After the anger passed. Ele sempre disse que você era igual a ele. Prática. Sobrevivente. He always said you were like him. Practical. A survivor. Beijar mafioso não é sobrevivência. É estupidez. Kissing a mobster isn't survival. It's stupidity. Ou é duas coisas. Or it's both. We landed in São Paulo at dawn Monday. Roberto met us at the airport, professional smile in place. Welcome back. How was Philadelphia? Illuminating, Gabriel said in careful English. Francesco offered to pay for my university. Roberto's eyebrows rose. Did he? That's unusual. Francesco doesn't typically invest in education. He said it's strategic. It's personal. Roberto loaded our bags. Strategic would be hiring you directly. Paying for education means he's thinking long-term. About your family's future, not just immediate operations. In the car, Roberto briefed us on developments while we'd been gone. Sentinel Solutions officially closed their investigation. Whitmore's people sent written apology to Francesco. Your warehouse had no incidents. Your mother as well, I checked on her twice. Everything stable. Too stable? I asked. Nothing is ever too stable. Just means threats are pausing, not gone. He navigated São Paulo traffic with practiced ease. Nina, Francesco wants video call tonight. Said it's important, not business personal. My chest tightened. Did he say what about? No, just that you should call after 9 p.m. your time. Roberto glanced at me in the rearview mirror. But I've worked for Francesco 16 years. I know his tones. This isn't operational. This is complicated. That night, I called Francesco at exactly 9 p.m. He answered immediately. In his Philadelphia apartment, tie loose, drink in hand. Looking tired in a way I hadn't seen before, like the weight of his world was pressing harder than usual. Nina, you made it back safely. Roberto's very efficient. He is, that's why I keep him. Francesco sipped his drink. How's Gabriel processing everything? Excited about university, suspicious about us, protective of me in ways that are both sweet and annoying. Good. He should be protective. Francesco set down his glass. Nina, we need to talk about what happened Saturday night. My stomach dropped. I know. It was a mistake. Don't. His voice was sharp. Don't dismiss it as a mistake before we even discuss it. Then what was it? Honest. Inevitable. Complicated. He ran a hand through his hair. And something I've been thinking about constantly for 3 days instead of focusing on actual business problems that need solving. Francesco, we can't. There are too many reasons this doesn't work. I know all the reasons. I've listed them approximately 400 times in the last 72 hours. He leaned forward. Operationally inefficient. You're a business partner. Power imbalance. Geographic complications. The fact that I'm a criminal and you're trying to stay legitimate. The reality that my world destroys most things it touches. He paused. Want me to continue? I have 17 more reasons memorized. Then why are we having this conversation? Because, despite all 17 reasons, plus the 400 times I've listed them, I still kissed you. And you kissed me back. And neither of us have stopped thinking about it. His gray eyes held mine through the screen. So we need to decide. Do we pretend it didn't happen and maintain professional distance? Or do we acknowledge it happened and figure out what comes next? What comes next is disaster. Probably. He smiled slightly. But maybe interesting disaster. Maybe worthwhile disaster. You want to date me? Is that what this is? I want to stop pretending you're just business when you're clearly not. I want to have honest conversations instead of coded ones. He hesitated. I want to see if this thing between us is real, or just trauma bonding and proximity. And if it's real, then we figure it out. Together. With all the complications that entails. He picked up his drink again. And if it's not real, if it's just stress and circumstance, then we acknowledge that and return to professional distance. Either way, we stop lying about what's happening. I was quiet for a long moment. Francesco, I don't know how to do this. Date a criminal. Navigate a relationship with someone who terrifies and attracts me equally. Explain to my family why I'm falling for the man who owns our survival. I don't know how to do it either. I've never let anyone this close to my actual life. He smiled without humor. But I'm willing to try. If you are. This is insane. Yes. We barely know each other. We know the important things. The rest is just details. Your job is literally crime. Your job is literally supplying my criminal enterprises. We're both morally compromised at this point. He leaned back. Nina, I'm not asking for forever. I'm asking for honesty. About what we're feeling, what we want, what this is. Can you do that? Could I? Could I admit I'd spent 3 days replaying that kiss? That I missed Francesco's voice when we didn't talk? That somewhere between security protocols and hotel tours, I'd started seeing him as more than dangerous necessity? Could I admit I was falling for someone I absolutely shouldn't fall for? Yes, I heard myself say. I can do that. His expression softened into something genuine. Relief, maybe. Or hope. Okay. Then we start honest. He raised his glass. I'm Francesco Salvatore. I run organized crime operations across 7 cities. I've killed people. I've destroyed lives. I'm probably going to hell if it exists. And despite all of that, I'm falling for a textile importer from Brazil who answered her phone in Portuguese at exactly the wrong moment and became the most interesting complication of my life. Despite everything, I laughed. I'm Nina Collins. I'm desperately trying to keep my family's business alive while becoming increasingly complicit in money laundering. I lie to my mother daily. I signed a contract with the devil and kind of don't regret it. And I'm falling for a man who terrifies me in every way except the ones that should matter most. We're a disaster, Francesco said, smiling. Complete disaster. Good, boring would be worse. He finished his drink. So, ground rules for this disaster. First, honesty. No lying about feelings, fears, or complications. We might not always like what the other person says, but we say it anyway. Agreed. Second, boundaries. You tell me when I'm being too controlling or too intense or too criminal. I tell you when you're being too distant or too self-sacrificing or too pragmatic about things that should be emotional. That's fair. Third, family protection. Your family stays insulated from the worst parts of my world. I don't care how close we get, Gabriel and your mother remain as legitimate as possible. Francesco. Non-negotiable, Nina. I meant what I said about protecting what matters to you. Your family matters to you. Therefore they matter to me. That means keeping them clean. My throat tightened. Thank you. Don't thank me. It's selfish. If something happens to them, you'd never forgive me. I'm protecting my own interests. But his smile said otherwise. What's Rule 4? Rule 4. He paused. Rule 4 is we give this a real chance. Not half-hearted, not self-sabotaging, not waiting for it to fail. We actually try. And if it doesn't work, if the complications become too much or the distance is too hard or we realize this was just stress chemistry, we end it honestly, instead of letting it poison the business relationship. That's remarkably mature for a criminal. Victoria made me do a relationship communication workshop once. Said my emotional articulation skills were operationally suboptimal. He smiled. Turned out she was right. I want Rule 5. What's Rule 5? We don't let this consume everything. Business stays business. Family stays family. This us exists in its own space. We don't let it destroy what we've built separately. Good rule. Harder to follow than the others, but good. He checked his watch. It's late there. You should sleep. I should. But I don't want to stop talking. Neither do I. That's probably Rule 6. We're allowed to be impractical sometimes. Break our own rules when it matters. You're making this up as you go. Completely. I have no idea what I'm doing. He smiled. But I'm finding I like figuring it out with you. We talked for another 2 hours. About nothing important, favorite foods, worst childhood memories, songs we couldn't get out of our heads, the kind of conversation people have when they're learning each other beyond crisis and necessity. When we finally said goodnight, I felt lighter than I had in weeks, and terrified. Because falling for Francesco Salvatore wasn't just complicated, it was potentially catastrophic. But I was doing it anyway. The next 2 weeks fell into rhythm. Days, running operations with Gabriel, expanding production, meeting Francesco's quality standards. Nights, video calls with Francesco that started as business updates and ended as something else entirely. We were learning each other. His tells when he was stressed, rubbed the bridge of his nose. My habits when exhausted, switched to Portuguese mid-sentence. His favorite bourbon, my coffee order. The way his smile changed when it was genuine versus strategic. Small intimacies building across 5,000 miles. But reality kept intruding. Week 2, Victoria called with complications. Nina, we have a problem. One of your textile cooperatives, the indigenous group in Amazonas, they're being pressured by a logging company. Threats, intimidation, demands they sell their land. That's not our problem. It becomes our problem when they can't produce textiles because their village is being destroyed. Victoria's tone was sharp. Francesco needs their specific weaving style for his luxury hotel line. We need to resolve this. How? That's what I'm asking you. What do you need to protect this cooperative? I thought about it. Legal support, media attention, physical protection if the logging company escalates. Done. I'm sending a team lawyers, security, PR specialists. They'll coordinate with you directly. She paused. This is what partnership means, Nina. Your suppliers' problems become our problems, because your success is our success. The team arrived 3 days later. Not criminals. Actual professionals, environmental lawyers, indigenous rights advocates, security specialists with military backgrounds. They descended on the Amazonas cooperative like a protective force of nature. Within a week, the logging company backed off. New contracts secured. Media coverage showing Francesco Salvatore's hotel chain supporting indigenous artisans and sustainable practices. Legitimate activism serving criminal interests. Classic Francesco. I called him that night. You just saved an indigenous village to protect your textile supply. I saved an indigenous village because you asked me to, and it made business sense. He smiled. Win-win. They get protection, we get textiles, I get positive press. Everyone benefits. You're using activism for money laundering. I'm supporting legitimate causes that happen to also serve my interests. There's a difference. He sipped his bourbon. Nina, I'm a criminal, not a monster. I can do good things for bad reasons. Outcomes the same village is protected. That's very complicated ethics. It's the only kind I have. He leaned closer to the camera. You know what I realized this week? What? I like making you happy, not strategically personally. When you called about the cooperative problem, I could have told Victoria to handle it minimally. Instead, I sent in overwhelming force because I wanted you to see me solve your problem completely. He smiled. That's not operational. That's emotional, and I don't hate it. You're getting soft. I'm getting honest. There's a difference. He set down his glass. When can you come back to Philadelphia? Victoria has me scheduled for 3 weeks from now. Come next week instead. Francesco, I can't just... Yes, you can. Gabriel can handle operations for a few days. Victoria will coordinate everything. I want to see you. He said it plainly. Not for business, for us. Can you do that? I should have said no. Should have maintained professional distance, kept boundaries intact. Instead, yes, I can do that. His smile was worth every complication. But the universe had other plans. Friday morning, 5 days before I was supposed to fly to Philadelphia, Roberto called at 6 a.m. Never good when Roberto called instead of texted. Nina, we have a situation. My blood went cold. What kind of situation? Federal police raided 2 of our shipping partners last night. Money laundering investigation. They seized records, including manifests showing deliveries to your warehouse. Shit. Yes. Francesco's legal team is handling it, but there will be questions. You need to prepare answers. What kind of answers? The kind that make your business look completely legitimate because it is completely legitimate. You're just a supplier. You don't know about any other activities. You deliver textiles to hotels. That's all. Will they believe that? They will if you believe it when you say it. His voice was serious. Nina, this is what Victoria's been training you for. Act normal. Answer questions with your lawyer present. Don't volunteer information. You're a victim of your shipping partner's choices, not a co-conspirator. When will they come? Maybe today. Maybe next week. Maybe never if Francesco's people handle it well enough. He paused. But be ready. I hung up and immediately called Francesco. He answered on the first ring. You heard. Roberto called. Federal police, shipping partners. This is bad. It's manageable. His voice was calm, too calm. The tone he used when situations were actually terrible and he was compensating. My legal team is already working. They'll contain it before it reaches you. And if they can't, then you tell the truth. You're a legitimate supplier. You chose shipping partners based on cost and reliability. You had no knowledge of their other activities. All documented, all verifiable, all clean. Francesco, if this goes wrong, it won't. Firm, absolute. Nina, I've been doing this for 8 years. I know how to protect my people from investigations. You'll be fine. And if I'm not fine? If they arrest me? If they pressure me to testify against you? Silence on the line. Then you do whatever keeps you safest. I mean that. Your safety comes before my operations. You're telling me to cooperate against you if necessary? I'm telling you I won't let you go to prison for my crimes. If it comes to that, if protecting you means exposing some of my operations, I'll make that trade. His voice was quiet but steady. You matter more than business. Remember that. My throat tightened. Francesco, I have to go. Legal team needs me. But Nina, I meant what I said. Your safety first. Always. He hung up before I could respond. I sat in my childhood bedroom in Sao Paulo, watching dawn break over our neighborhood, and tried to calculate how fast my life could implode. Pretty fast, apparently. By noon, Brazilian federal police were at our warehouse. 2 federal agents stood in our warehouse while Paulo nervously translated, and I tried to remember everything Roberto had taught me about remaining calm under interrogation. Senora Collins, we'd like to ask you some questions about your shipping partners. I kept my voice steady. Claro, mas eu gostaria de ter meu advogado presente. Of course, but I'd like to have my lawyer present. The older agent, 50s, gray hair, tired eyes, nodded. That's your right. We can wait. I called the number Victoria had given me for emergencies. A Brazilian lawyer, already retained, already briefed on exactly this scenario. She arrived 30 minutes later. Dr. Alessandra Cardoso, sharp-eyed woman in her 40s who radiated competent authority. Agents, my client is cooperating fully. Let's proceed. They asked careful questions. About our shipping partners, how we chose them, what we knew about their operations, whether we'd seen anything suspicious. I answered honestly. We'd used them for 2 years. Reliable, affordable, never late. No, I hadn't seen anything unusual. No, I had no knowledge of their other clients or activities. All true. Victoria's structure worked. Genuine ignorance was the best defense. And your recent expansion? New American clients, increased volume, enhanced security. That's unusual for a small family business. We secured investment from American hotel chains. They required security measures for valuable inventory. Standard practice for international contracts. I kept my voice professional. All documented in our contracts, all legitimate business operations. The agents exchanged glances. The younger one, 30s, ambitious energy, leaned forward. Senora Collins, are you aware your American client has been under federal investigation in the United States? My heart stopped. But Dr. Cardoso intervened smoothly. Unless you're charging my client with a crime, her business relationships are her own concern. She's a textile supplier. She's not responsible for investigating her clients' backgrounds beyond standard business verification. We're just asking if she's aware. And I'm advising my client not to answer speculative questions about third parties. Alessandra's voice was steel wrapped in silk. Do you have specific allegations regarding Senora Collins' operations? Evidence of wrongdoing? Or are you fishing? The older agent sighed. We're investigating a money laundering network. Your shipping partners were part of it. We're trying to determine which of their clients were knowing participants versus innocent businesses caught up in their operations. And you found evidence my client was knowing participant? No. Then we're done here. Alessandra stood. Agents, my client has cooperated fully. She's answered your questions. Unless you have grounds for arrest or seizure, we're concluding this interview. They left, but not before the younger one said, Senora Collins, if you discover anything about your shipping partner's activities or your American client's interests, we hope you'll contact us. Cooperation is always better than compulsion. It sounded like a threat wrapped in invitation. After they left, Alessandra turned to me. That went well. That was well? They basically accused me of money laundering. They asked if you were aware of money laundering. Different question. And you answered honestly you're not aware because you genuinely don't know the details. She smiled slightly. Ignorance isn't just bliss, it's defense. How long before they come back? Depends on their investigation. Could be weeks, could be months, could be never if they don't find evidence connecting you to actual crimes. She packed her briefcase. Nina, I need you to understand something. You're currently in what we call the gray zone. Not clearly guilty, not clearly innocent, just associated with people under investigation. The goal is staying in that zone without sliding into person of interest territory. How do I do that? Keep operating normally, maintain legitimate business practices, document everything, and, she looked at me seriously, minimize contact with the American client until investigations conclude. I can't just stop. I'm not saying stop. I'm saying be very careful. Electronic communications are likely monitored. Video calls might be surveilled. Physical meetings could draw attention. She handed me her card. Call me before making any business decisions involving the American client. Let me review for legal exposure first. She left, and I stood in our warehouse surrounded by legitimate textiles and coffee and the weight of choices that were destroying my life by inches. I called Francesco immediately. They came, federal police, asked about shipping partners, about you, about everything. I know. My legal people briefed me 30 minutes ago. His voice was tight. Nina, are you okay? No, I'm terrified. They're watching me now. Alessandra said communications are probably monitored. Then we use encrypted channels only. Victoria's sending new protocols. Nothing tracked, nothing recorded. He paused. Nina, I'm so sorry. This shouldn't be touching you. But it is touching me. Because I'm connected to you. Because your business is now my business. My voice broke slightly. Francesco, I don't know how to do this. Function normally while being investigated. Lie to my family about federal police. Pretend everything's fine when it's absolutely not. You do what I've done for 8 years. You compartmentalize. Business brain handles operations. Emotional brain handles relationships. Survival brain handles investigations. Keep them separate or they'll paralyze you. I'm not you. I don't have 8 years of practice. No, but you have me. And Victoria. And Roberto. And an entire infrastructure designed to protect you. His voice softened. Nina, you're not alone in this. I won't let you be alone in this. They said I should cooperate. That cooperation is better than compulsion. Classic pressure tactic, They have nothing or they'd have arrested you. They're fishing, hoping you'll panic and say something useful." He was quiet for a moment. "But Nina, if they do have something, if somehow they've built a case, you cooperate. You don't protect me at the expense of your freedom. I'm not testifying against you. If it keeps you out of prison, yes you are. Firm, absolute. I'm serious. Your safety matters more than my operations. Remember that." After we hung up, I sat in the warehouse office and cried. Not delicate tears. Ugly, shaking sobs that I'd been holding in for 3 weeks. Stress and fear and exhaustion finally breaking through. Gabriel found me 10 minutes later. "Nina," he crossed the office, pulling me into a hug. "O que aconteceu? What happened?" "Polícia Federal. Investigação. Nossos parceiros de transporte estão sendo investigados por lavagem de dinheiro. Federal Police. Investigation. Our shipping partners are being investigated for money laundering. Merda. Shit." He held me tighter. "Eles te acusaram de alguma coisa?" "Não, mas eles estão observando. Tudo que a gente faz agora vai ser analisado." "No, but they're watching. Everything we do now will be scrutinized." "E o Francesco? Ele diz que vai me proteger." "Hey, he says he'll protect me. Você acredita nele?" Could I trust Francesco Salvatore to actually prioritize my safety over his criminal empire? To really make the trades he promised? "Eu quero acreditar. I want to believe. Mas você não tem certeza." "Eu não tenho certeza de nada, Gabi. I'm not sure of anything, Gabi. Só sei que a gente tá preso nisso agora. E eu te coloquei aqui. Coloquei a mamãe aqui. Por causa das minhas escolas. I just know we're trapped in this now. And I put you here, put Mom here, because of my choices. Nina, você nos salvou. Não esquece disso. Nina, you saved us. Don't forget that. O armazém ainda tá de pé. A mamãe tá saudável. Eu vou voltar pra faculdade. A gente tá vivo por causa de você. The warehouse is still standing. Mom is healthy. I'm going back to university. We're alive because of you. Mas por quanto tempo?" He didn't have an answer for that. The next week was carefully controlled paranoia. Every conversation monitored for potential listening devices. Every document reviewed by Alessandra before filing. Every business decision analyzed for legal exposure. I couldn't go to Philadelphia. Too risky, too visible. Francesco and I communicated through encrypted channels only, conversations stilted by the knowledge someone might be listening despite precautions. "I miss you," he said one night on an encrypted video call, his face pixelated slightly from the security software. "I miss you too. This isn't how this was supposed to go. You were supposed to visit next week. We were supposed to—" He stopped. "It doesn't matter what we were supposed to do. When will it be safe again?" "I don't know. Victoria says investigations like this take months minimum. Could be a year before they conclude you're not involved and move on." "A year of this? Living under surveillance? Or we end the contract. You pay back the money over time. I find other suppliers. We sever business connections." He said it without emotion. "Clean break. You're free. And owe you $500,000 plus interest? I'd waive the interest, structure payments to be manageable. You'd eventually clear the debt and be completely free of me." He met my eyes through the pixelated screen. "I'm serious, Nina. If this is too much, if the pressure is destroying you, we can end it. And us? There is no us if you're not in my business. Too complicated, too dangerous, too many ways it could destroy you." His voice was quiet. "But you'd be safe. And maybe that matters more." I wanted to argue, wanted to say I could handle it, that I was strong enough, that I wouldn't break. But I was already breaking. Could feel it in the sleepless nights, the constant anxiety, the way I jumped every time my phone rang. "I need to think about it," I finally said. "Take your time. The offer stands regardless." He smiled sadly. "I meant what I said, Nina. Your safety matters more than my operations, even more than whatever this is between us." I spent 3 days considering Francesco's offer. End the contract, pay back the money slowly, return to normal life or whatever passed for normal after everything that had happened. Gabriel would lose his university funding. We'd lose our primary client. We'd struggle financially. But we'd be free. Thursday night, I called a family meeting. Mom, Gabriel, me at our kitchen table. The same place we'd had 1,000 family discussions. The same place Dad used to review business plans before cancer made planning impossible. "Eu preciso contar uma coisa pra vocês. E depois vocês vão ajudar a decidir o que a gente faz. I need to tell you something, and then you're going to help decide what we do. I explained everything: the federal investigation, the pressure, Francesco's offer to end the contract, what it would cost, what it would save. Mom listened in silence, hands folded. Gabriel took notes like he was studying for an exam. When I finished, Mom said, "Você acha que o Francesco seria perigoso se a gente terminasse o contrato?" Do you think Francesco would be dangerous if we end the contract? Não, ele realmente se importa. De uma forma torta, mas ele se importa. No, he really cares, in a twisted way, but he cares. Você o ama? The question hung in the air. Did I love Francesco Salvatore, the criminal who'd saved my family and endangered my soul? The man who made me feel alive and terrified simultaneously? Eu não sei. I don't know. Talvez. Provavelmente. Mas não sei se isso importa. Maybe. Probably. But I don't know if that matters. Sempre importa. It always matters. Mom reached across the table, taking my hand. Nina, quando eu conheci seu pai, minha família disse que era erro. Ele era muito pobre, muito ambicioso, muito arriscado, mas eu o amava. Então eu escolhi ele mesmo, sabendo que seria difícil. Nina, when I met your father, my family said it was a mistake. He was too poor, too ambitious, too risky. But I loved him. So I chose him, knowing it would be difficult. E valeu a pena. Cada momento difícil, cada desafio, cada medo valeu por causa do que construímos juntos. Every difficult moment, every challenge, every fear, it was worth it, because of what we built together. Mas Nina, seu pai era homem bom que fazia escolhas difíceis. Esse homem, esse Francesco, ele faz escolhas ruins com boas razões. É diferente. But Nina, your father was a good man who made difficult choices. This man, this Francesco, he makes bad choices for good reasons. It's different. Gabrielle spoke up. Mas ele está tentando ser melhor. Eu vi isso em Filadélfia. Ele não é só criminoso. Ele está tentando construir algo legítimo. But he's trying to be better. I saw that in Philadelphia. He's not just a criminal. He's trying to build something legitimate. Talvez. Mom squeezed my hand. A pergunta é: você consegue viver com as escolhas dele? Consegue viver sabendo que o homem que você ama ganha dinheiro machucando outras pessoas? Maybe. The question is, can you live with his choices? Can you live knowing the man you love makes money hurting other people? Could I? That was the real question beneath everything else. Not whether Francesco was redeemable or whether our relationship could survive distance and complications, but whether I could live with loving someone whose empire was built on crime. Eu não sei. I don't know. Mas eu sei que terminar o contrato agora enquanto estamos sendo investigados vai parecer culpa. Como se a gente estivesse fugindo porque tem algo a esconder. But I know ending the contract now while we're being investigated will look like guilt. Like we're running because we have something to hide. Gabrielle nodded slowly. Ela tem razão. Se a gente quer parecer inocente, a gente age inocente. Inocente não cancela contratos por causa de investigações. Inocente continua operando porque não fez nada errado. She's right. If we want to look innocent, we act innocent. Innocent doesn't cancel contracts because of investigations. Innocent keeps operating because they did nothing wrong. Mom was quiet for a long moment. Then, então a gente continua, mas com condições. Then we continue, but with conditions. Que condições? Primeira, você para de mentir pra mim. Eu mereço saber a verdade sobre o que está acontecendo. First, you stop lying to me. I deserve to know the truth about what's happening. Mamãe, eu não sou fraca, Nina. Meu coração é fraco. Minha mente é forte. E eu preciso saber o que está acontecendo para me preparar. I'm not weak, Nina. My heart is weak. My mind is strong. I need to know what's happening to prepare myself. I nodded. Tudo bem. Ok. Segunda. Gabriel continua a faculdade independente do que acontecer com o negócio. Se tudo desmoronar, ele tem educação para reconstruir. Second. Gabriel continues university regardless of what happens with the business. If everything falls apart, he has education to rebuild. Eu não vou abandonar vocês, Gabriel started. Você não vai abandonar. Você vai se preparar. You're not abandoning. You're preparing. Mom's voice was firm. Isso é ordem, não negociação. This is an order, not negotiation. He nodded reluctantly. E terceira. Mom looked at me seriously. Se você decidir ficar com esse homem, com o Francesco, você faz isso com olhos abertos. Sem ilusões sobre o que ele é, ou o que você está escolhendo. Entendido? And third, if you decide to stay with this man, with Francesco, you do it with eyes open. No illusions about what he is or what you're choosing. Understood? Sim, mamãe. Yes, Mom. Bom. Good. She stood, collecting our empty coffee cups. Então a gente continua. A gente trabalha. A gente sobrevive. Como sempre. Then we continue. We work. We survive. Like always. I called Francesco that night with my decision. We're continuing the contract. He was quiet for a moment. Then, you're sure? No, but canceling now looks like guilt. And we're not guilty. We're just associated with guilty people. There's a difference. Legally, yes. Practically, not always. He sighed. Nina, if you're doing this because you feel obligated, I'm doing this because ending it doesn't actually solve anything. We'd still owe you money. We'd still be under investigation because investigators don't stop just because we cancel contracts. And we'd lose the one advantage we have: your legal infrastructure protecting us. Smart reasoning. Gabriel's influence. He's very practical when he's not being protective. I paused. Francesco, I told my family. Everything. The investigation, your offer, all of it. How did they take it? Mom wants me to stop lying to her. Gabriel wants to help, and they both agreed we should continue, but with clear boundaries and open eyes. Your mother sounds formidable. She survived dictatorship, inflation, my father's cancer, and raising me. Federal investigations are practically routine at this point. I smiled despite everything. She also said if I stay with you, I have to do it without illusions about what you are. And what am I? A criminal trying to be better. A dangerous man who protects what matters to him. Someone who makes bad choices for complicated reasons. I took a breath. And someone I'm falling for despite every logical reason I shouldn't. Silence on the line. Then, I don't deserve you. Probably not. But you have me anyway. I leaned back in my chair. So what happens now? Now we wait. Investigations take time. Victoria's team monitors everything, manages exposure, keeps you clean. Business continues normally. And he paused. We figure out how to have a relationship across 5,000 miles while under federal surveillance. Romantic. It's the thought that counts. He smiled through the pixelated video. Nina? Yes? Thank you. For choosing to continue. For trusting me enough to stay connected despite everything. His voice was quiet. I won't waste that trust. You better not. I'm running out of trust to give. 3 weeks later, the federal investigation quietly closed. No charges filed. No evidence of Colin's family involvement in money laundering. Shipping partners prosecuted, but their clients, including us, determined to be legitimate businesses unknowingly caught up in illegal operations. Exactly as Francesco's legal team had predicted, Alessandra called with the news. You're clear. Investigation concluded you had no knowledge of your shipping partner's other activities. You're free to continue operations normally. Just like that? Just like that. Though I'd recommend using different shipping partners going forward. Appearance of caution, even though you're legally clear. Victoria had new shipping partners arranged within 24 hours. Also Francesco controlled, but through so many corporate layers that connection was essentially invisible. The relief was overwhelming. I called Francesco immediately. We're clear. I know. Victoria briefed me 30 minutes ago. He sounded lighter, like he'd been holding tension I hadn't recognized until it released. Nina, you survived your first federal investigation. That's not nothing. It was terrifying. It always is. But you handled it perfectly. Stayed calm, followed protocols, didn't panic. He paused. I'm proud of you. Those 4 words hit harder than expected. You're proud of me for successfully lying to federal investigators? I'm proud of you for staying strong under impossible pressure. For protecting your family while managing crisis. For not breaking. His voice was warm. You're stronger than you think you are. I keep telling you that. I'm starting to believe it. Good. I could hear the smile in his voice. So, investigation's over. You're clear. No surveillance, no legal exposure. Which means I can come to Philadelphia. This weekend, if you want. No business meetings, no hotel tours, just us. Figuring out what this is when we're not in crisis mode. My chest tightened, anticipation and fear equally. Just us? Just us. Victoria will have security but discreet. Roberto will be in São Paulo with your family. Gabriel can handle operations for a few days. He paused. What do you say? I should have been cautious. Should have taken time to process everything that had happened. Should have moved slowly. Instead, yes, send me flight information. Already done. Victoria's emailing you now. His smile was audible. Nina? Yes? I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see you too. After we hung up, I sat in my room and tried to process everything that had happened in 6 weeks. Met a criminal at a gala, signed a contract, survived threats, investigations, federal pressure, built a business, fell for someone I absolutely shouldn't fall for, became someone I barely recognized but didn't entirely hate. Gabrielle knocked on my door. Você tá indo pra Filadélfia? You're going to Philadelphia. Sim. Por causa do negócio ou por causa dele? Ambos. Nenhum. Eu não sei. Both. Neither. I don't know. Só sei que preciso ver ele. Descobrir se isso é real ou só trauma e circunstância. I just know I need to see him. Find out if this is real or just trauma and circumstance. E se for real? Então eu descubro como viver uma vida impossível. Then I figure out how to live an impossible life. He smiled. Você já está vivendo uma vida impossível. Pode ser que mais uma impossibilidade não faça diferença. You're already living an impossible life. Might be one more impossibility won't make a difference. Essa foi sua tentativa de ser solidário? Foi minha tentativa de dizer que eu te apoio. Mesmo quando você tá fazendo escolhas malucas. It was my attempt to say I support you. Even when you're making crazy choices. Só. Não se perde completamente, ok? Ainda preciso da minha irmã de vez em quando. Just. Don't lose yourself completely, okay? I still need my sister sometimes. Eu vou tentar. I'll try. Bom o suficiente. Good enough. Friday afternoon, I landed in Philadelphia. Francesco met me at the airport. Not at baggage claim at the gate. Having somehow cleared security despite not being a passenger. I saw him waiting and felt something in my chest shift. Relief, anticipation, recognition. He smiled when he spotted me. Genuine, unguarded. The way he smiled when we video called at 2 a.m. and he forgot to be strategic. Nina. Hi. We stood there for a moment. Suddenly awkward. We'd been intimate across thousands of miles of fiber optic cable, but in person felt different. More real. More risky. Then Francesco stepped forward and kissed me. Not tentative like before. Certain. Claiming. Like he'd been waiting 6 weeks to do this and couldn't wait another second. When we separated, he rested his forehead against mine. You're really here. I'm really here. No investigations. No surveillance. No crises. Just us. Just us. He smiled. I have no idea what to do with just us. I've never had just us before. Neither have I. Then we'll figure it out together. He took my bag. Come on. I have plans. What kind of plans? The kind where we pretend we're normal people for 48 hours. See if we can pull it off. We spent the weekend discovering each other outside of crisis. Saturday, walking through Philadelphia's streets like normal couple. Dinner at a restaurant where no one knew Francesco as anything beyond another customer. Conversation about nothing important. Favorite movies, worst dates, embarrassing childhood stories. He told me about learning to ride a bike at age 8, while his father's bodyguards ran alongside. I told him about Gabriel putting red dye in our pool when I was 12, convincing me I'd started my period catastrophically early. We laughed. Actual, genuine laughter that wasn't strategic or stress relief, but just happiness. Saturday night, in his apartment, we crossed the line we'd been approaching for weeks. Not frantically, not desperately, just inevitably. Afterward, lying in his bed, Francesco traced patterns on my shoulder and said quietly, I love you. My breath caught. What? I love you. I didn't plan to. Wasn't supposed to. It's operationally inefficient and emotionally dangerous and probably doomed. He turned to face me. But I do, and I needed to say it at least once when we weren't in crisis mode. When it was just us being honest. I stared at him. Gray eyes that had seen too much. Face that could be cruel or kind depending on necessity. Hands that had killed people and now held me like I was something precious. I love you too, I heard myself say, and I have no idea what to do about that. Neither do I. He pulled me closer. But we'll figure it out. We've figured out everything else. Sunday. Pretending morning was normal. Coffee in his kitchen. Reading news on our phones. Discussing Gabriel's upcoming semester. Planning next month's delivery schedules. Domestic. Ordinary. Impossible. That afternoon, We had to talk about reality. You go back to Brazil tomorrow, Francesco said, pouring wine in his living room while rain fell outside. Resume operations. Keep building the business. We video call like always. And see each other when? Whenever you can visit. Whenever I can visit São Paulo, though, that's riskier given my profile. He handed me a glass. Victoria's working on logistics for more regular meetings. Maybe monthly. Maybe every 6 weeks. This is going to be hard. Everything about us is hard. He sat beside me. But I'm willing to do hard if you are. What if it's too hard? What if distance and complications destroy this? Then we'll have tried. And trying matters. He took my hand. Nina, I'm not promising forever. I don't know if forever is possible for people like us. But I'm promising I'll try as long as you're willing to try. That enough? Was it? Could I love Francesco Salvatore across 5,000 miles? Navigate relationships with a criminal while maintaining legitimate business? Keep my family safe while being complicit in his empire? I didn't know, but I was willing to find out. Yes, I said. That's enough. Monday morning, Francesco drove me to the airport. We didn't talk much, just held hands across the center console while Philadelphia passed by outside. At departures, he kissed me one more time. Call me when you land. I will. And Nina? He smiled. Thank you for taking a chance on this. On us. I know it's insane. Most things about us are insane. We're very consistent that way. We really are. He kissed my forehead. Go build your empire. I'll be here building mine, and we'll figure out how to merge them without destroying each other. Deal. I walked through security without looking back. Couldn't. If I looked back, I might not board the plane. 11 hours later, I landed in São Paulo. Roberto met me at the airport with his warm smile and professional efficiency. Welcome home. How was Philadelphia? Good. Really good. Francesco's different after seeing you. Lighter. He loaded my bag. That's good. He needs someone who makes him lighter. He makes me heavier. We're very balanced. Roberto laughed. Perfect match then. At home, Mom and Gabriel were waiting. Então? So? Mom asked. Então. Eu acho que isso vai funcionar. So, I think this is going to work. Não sei como, mas vai. Don't know how, but it will. Gabriel hugged me. Você parece feliz. You look happy. Eu estou feliz, e assustada, e confusa, mas principalmente feliz. I'm happy, and scared, and confused, but mostly happy. Bom. Mom kissed my forehead. Feliz é bom, mesmo quando é complicado. Good. Happy is good. Even when it's complicated. 6 months later. The Collins family warehouse hummed with controlled efficiency. 22 employees now instead of 12, 3 trucks for deliveries, new storage infrastructure, premium coffee beans being quality checked for shipment to Francesco's hotels in Miami, New York, Philadelphia, Boston. We'd become exactly what Francesco predicted, legitimate, successful, respected. And underneath that legitimacy, carefully integrated into his empire in ways that would take federal investigators years to untangle. Gabriel was in his 2nd semester at Penn State, flying home monthly to help coordinate operations. Mom's heart medication was being covered by our new health insurance. The house had a new roof. The warehouse had new equipment. We'd never been more successful. We'd never been more complicit. I stood in our office reviewing quarterly reports when my phone rang. Francesco. Nina. Good news. I'm almost afraid to ask. The hotel chain acquisition finalized this morning. All 7 properties officially mine, which means your family's contract just became even more valuable. You're now exclusive supplier to a rapidly expanding hospitality empire. How rapidly expanding? Victoria's negotiating for 3 more properties in California, 2 in Texas, 1 in Chicago. He sounded genuinely excited. Within 2 years, we'll have 20 hotels. All legitimate, all profitable, all needing your family's premium products. Francesco, we can't scale that fast. You can with proper investment. I'm wiring another $200,000 for infrastructure expansion. Hire more workers, increase production, maintain quality. You'll manage it. You have a lot of faith in me. I have realistic assessment of your capabilities. There's a difference. He paused. How's your week looking? Busy. Shipment coordination, new employee training, quarterly projections. Cancel Friday. Come to Philadelphia. I have something to show you. Francesco, trust me. You'll want to see this. Friday, I flew to Philadelphia. Francesco picked me up himself, driving not to his apartment but out of the city. Where are we going? You'll see. 40 minutes later, we pulled up to a property I recognized. His house outside Philadelphia, the place I'd stayed during that first investigation crisis. But something was different. Construction equipment. Landscaping in progress. A second building being renovated adjacent to the main house. What is all this? Your house. He said it casually, like discussing weather. My what? Your house. Well, technically guest house, but functionally yours when you're in Philadelphia. He led me toward the building under renovation. 2 bedrooms, full kitchen, office space. Completely independent from my house. Separate entrance, separate utilities. You can come and go without seeing me if you don't want to. You're building me a house? I'm building us space to be together without you feeling like you're constantly in my territory. He opened the door, inside. Beautiful renovation in progress. Exposed brick, modern fixtures, large windows overlooking the grounds. I know you can't move to Philadelphia full-time. You have business in Brazil, family obligations. But when you visit once a month, twice a month, however often we can manage, you'll have actual space that's yours. I walked through the construction, touching surfaces that would become my kitchen, my bedroom, my office. Francesco, this is too much. It's investment in something I care about. Same as business investment. He stood in the doorway, backlit by afternoon sun. Nina, I love you. I want actual future with you, not just video calls and occasional weekends. This is me trying to build that future. By building me a house. By giving you space to exist in my world without being consumed by it. He came closer. You were right. 6 months ago we need separation between business and personal, between your life and mine. This is that separation. Physical space that's just ours. No operations. No Victoria coordinating everything. No security briefings. When will it be finished? 2 months. Maybe 3. He smiled. Will you use it? Would I? Could I actually divide my time between Sao Paulo and Philadelphia? Between running my family's business and being with Francesco? It seemed impossible. Everything about us had seemed impossible. Yes, I said, I'll use it. His smile was worth every complication. That night, in Francesco's apartment, we talked about future. Gabriel graduates in 3 years, I said, lying in his bed while he traced patterns on my arm. He'll be ready to run Brazilian operations full-time, which means I could potentially spend more time here. If we're still doing this in 3 years. We'll still be doing this. He said it with absolute certainty. We've survived federal investigations, distance, family complications, and your mother's terrifying interrogations when I video called during Sunday dinner. We can survive 3 more years. You're very confident. I'm very invested. He kissed my shoulder. Nina, I'm building you a house. I don't build houses for temporary arrangements. What are we then, if not temporary? He was quiet for a moment, considering. We're inevitable, he finally said. From the moment you answered that phone call in Portuguese, this was inevitable. Maybe not the specifics, maybe not falling in love or building businesses together or navigating federal investigations, but something, some connection that neither of us could ignore. He turned to face me. You're the first person in my life who's seen all of me, the legitimate business, the criminal operations, the parts I'm proud of and the parts I'm not, and chosen to stay anyway. That's not temporary, that's foundational. What about Victoria? She knows everything. Victoria works for me. It's different. He smiled slightly. She's loyal because I pay her well and she respects the work. You're loyal because you actually care. There's a difference. I do care. Probably more than I should. Definitely more than you should. I'm objectively terrible boyfriend material. He pulled me closer. But you're stuck with me now. Am I? Yes. I'm very possessive about things that matter to me. You matter. Therefore you're stuck. He said it lightly, but his arms tightened around me. Is that okay? Was it okay to be claimed by Francesco Salvatore? To be possessed by a man who'd killed people and built criminal empires and made me complicit in things I'd once found unthinkable? 6 months ago, I would have said no. Now? Yes. I whispered. That's okay. Sunday morning, we had breakfast with Victoria at Francesco's house. She'd brought quarterly projections, updated security protocols, and pastries from a bakery I'd mentioned liking 3 months ago. Victoria's efficiency remained terrifying and oddly touching simultaneously. Collins Export is now generating 42% more revenue than pre-contract projections, she reported, scrolling through her tablet while eating a croissant. Quality remains exemplary. No regulatory flags, No investigation concerns. You're a model supplier. That almost sounds like a compliment. It is a compliment. I don't give empty praise. She pulled up different documents, which is why Francesco and I are proposing expansion into luxury textile consulting. Not just supplying hotels, actually advising other businesses on sustainable sourcing, quality control, ethical production. That's legitimate business. Completely legitimate and profitable, an excellent cover for continued integration into Francesco's operations. She smiled. See? We can make you successful and keep you useful simultaneously. Victoria, Francesco said warningly. What? She knows what this is. No point pretending otherwise. Victoria looked at me seriously. Nina, you're good at what you do. The consulting business would be real, would generate real revenue, would build real reputation. The fact that it also serves our interests doesn't diminish its legitimacy. Win-win. You want me to be a consultant? I want you to be whatever makes you feel like you're building something beyond just supplying Francesco's hotels. Victoria's voice softened slightly. You're not just a supplier anymore. You're a partner. Partners should have autonomous operations that benefit the partnership but also stand independently. This consulting business is that. I looked at Francesco. Did you plan this? Victoria planned it. I approved it because it makes sense. He sipped his coffee. But it's your choice. You don't have to expand if you don't want to. The current arrangement works fine. The current arrangement works fine for business, Victoria corrected. But Nina needs something that's hers. Not her family's legacy business. Not Francesco's supply chain, something she built independently that happens to also serve our interests. She closed her tablet. I'm giving you the option because you've earned it. Take it or don't, but don't dismiss it because you think it's manipulation. She wasn't wrong. For 6 months, I'd been managing my family's business, fulfilling Francesco's contracts, navigating complications, but none of it felt entirely mine. The warehouse was my grandfather's legacy. The contracts were Francesco's infrastructure. Even this relationship felt like something that had happened to me rather than something I'd built. I'll think about it, I said. Good enough. Victoria stood. Now if you'll excuse me, I have 17 things to coordinate before noon. Nina, your flight back is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Car service confirmed. Roberto's expecting your arrival in São Paulo. She left in a whirl of efficiency and expensive perfume. Francesco smiled. She likes you. That was liking me? Victoria doesn't give business expansion opportunities to people she doesn't respect. Trust me, I've seen her destroy people she dislikes. This is her version of affection. Your world has very strange expressions of affection, says the woman who fell in love with a criminal. He pulled me into his lap. We're all strange here. That's why it works. That afternoon we walked the grounds of Francesco's property. Security at a distance but present. The guest house construction visible through the trees. Tell me about your father, I said. Francesco was quiet for a long moment. Why? Because you've told me what he did. The violence, the traditional mob approach, but not who he was, as a person. He wasn't really a person. He was a role. Francesco stopped walking, looking at the main house. My earliest memory is him teaching me to shoot. I was 6. He put a gun in my hand and said, "Fear is for weak men. Salvatore men are not weak." Then he made me shoot at targets for 3 hours until my arms shook and I cried. He slapped me for crying and made me shoot for another hour. Jesus, Francesco. That was normal. Every lesson was about strength, control, fear. He believed you either dominated or got destroyed. No middle ground, no compromise. He started walking again. When I took over after he died, everyone expected me to be him. More violence, more intimidation, more traditional operations. Instead, I went legitimate. Built actual businesses. Made money through investment, not extortion. People thought I was weak. But you weren't. No, I was smart. I killed the people who needed killing, protected the people who needed protecting, and built an empire my father couldn't have imagined. He smiled without humor. He'd hate what I've become, not criminal enough for his taste. Too soft, too compromising, too focused on sustainability instead of immediate dominance. Do you ever wish you'd known him as a person instead of as a role? No, because I don't think there was a person underneath. Or if there was, he killed it to become what he thought he needed to be. He stopped walking, turned to face me. That's why I love you, Nina. You see the person underneath my role. You see Francesco, not just Salvatore. That's rare. That's worth protecting. Your father would have hated me. Absolutely. You're everything he despised, compassionate, compromising, building through partnership instead of domination. He pulled me close. Good thing he's not here to disapprove. What would your mother have thought, if she'd lived? I don't know. Sometimes I imagined she would have softened him, made him more human, but that's probably fantasy women who marry men like my father usually enable them rather than change them. He rested his chin on top of my head. I'd like to think she would have liked you, though. Would have been glad I found someone who makes me better instead of worse. I'm not sure I make you better. You make me want to be better. That's close enough. We stood there for a while, holding each other while security patrols moved in the distance and the guest house construction continued, building futures from complicated pasts. Monday, at the airport, Gabriel video called just as I was boarding. Nina, precisamos conversar. Nina, we need to talk. Estou embarcando agora. I'm boarding now. É sobre a mamãe. It's about Mom. My blood went cold. What's wrong? Nada está errado. Mas ela quer conhecer o Francesco. Nothing's wrong, but she wants to meet Francesco. Tipo, conhecer de verdade. Não só videochamada. Ela quer que ele venha para São Paulo. Like, really meet him, not just video call. She wants him to come to São Paulo. Gabi, he can't just... Eu sei. Eu disse isso pra ela. Mas ela tá insistindo. Diz que se você vai ficar com ele, ela precisa olhar ele nos olhos e decidir se ele merece você. I know. I told her that. But she's insisting. Says if you're going to stay with him, she needs to look him in his eyes and decide if he deserves you. I closed my eyes. Of course Mom wanted to meet Francesco. Of course she needed to evaluate him personally. That was exactly who she was. Practical, protective, unwilling to let her daughter make life-altering decisions without direct assessment. Quando? When? Ela disse próximo mês, quando você voltar de Filadélfia. She said next month, when you're back from Philadelphia. You conversar como Francesco. I'll talk to Francesco. Nina, você acha que ele vai vir? Eu não sei. Vir para São Paulo é risco, mas recusar conhecer a mãe da namorada também é risco. I don't know. Coming to São Paulo is risky, but refusing to meet his girlfriend's mother is also risky. Vamos descobrir. We'll find out. I boarded the plane and immediately texted Francesco. My mother wants to meet you, in São Paulo, next month. Thoughts? His response came before takeoff. I'd be honored. Tell me when, and I'll make it work. Just like that. No hesitation, no logistics discussion, no assessment of risk. You'd come to Brazil, despite exposure risk? Your mother wants to evaluate whether I deserve her daughter. That's reasonable. I'll come make my case. You know she might hate you, right? Most mothers would. I'll be charming anyway. This is a terrible idea. Most things about us are terrible ideas. We're very consistent that way. I smiled despite everything, and sent one more text. I love you. I love you too. Now stop texting and fly safely. Roberto's waiting. 4 weeks later, Francesco Salvatore arrived in São Paulo. Roberto picked him up from the airport appropriate, since Roberto had been his father's driver and was now his most trusted security. The symmetry wasn't lost on anyone. Francesco came directly to our house. No hotel, no separate meeting, straight into Colin's family territory. He stood on our small porch in jeans and a button-down shirt, looking simultaneously out of place and completely comfortable, like he could adapt to any environment through sheer force of will. Gabriel opened the door, stared at him for a moment. Você realmente veio. You really came. Prometi que viria. I promised I would. Francesco's Portuguese was better than 6 months ago. Posso entrar? May I come in? Gabriel stepped aside. Mom was in the living room, sitting in Dad's old chair, the power position, making Francesco come to her instead of meeting him at the door. Psychological warfare via furniture placement. Classic Mom. Francesco approached, stopped at respectful distance, and said in careful Portuguese, Senhora Collins, é uma honra conhecer, la finalmente. Mrs. Collins, it's an honor to finally meet you. Mom studied him for a long moment, taking in everything, his posture, his expression, the way he stood in her living room like he belonged but didn't presume. Você ama minha filha? Do you love my daughter? No preamble, no small talk. Straight to the point. Sim. Yes. Você vai machucar? Lá. Não intencionalmente, mas provavelmente sim, porque não sou homem bom e relacionamentos com homens como eu machucam as pessoas que amamos. Not intentionally, but probably yes, because I'm not a good man, and relationships with men like me hurt the people we love. mas vou tentar minimizar esse dano o máximo possível. But I'll try to minimize that damage as much as possible. Mom's expression didn't change. You speak Portuguese well for American criminal. Francesco switched to English. I learned because Nina matters to me. Understanding her language means understanding her better. Understanding is not same as deserving. No, and I'm not sure I deserve her. But I love her, and I protect what I love. That has to count for something. Protection is not love. Protection is control, dressed as care. Sometimes, but not always. Francesco stayed standing, not sitting until invited. Senora Collins, I know what I am. I know my world damages people. But Nina came into my world by choice. To save your family, to save this business. She made impossible choice because the alternatives were worse. I'm trying to make that choice worth it. By making her criminal? By making her successful, protected, able to provide for her family without fear. He gestured around the living room, new furniture, recent renovations, visible prosperity. Your son is in university. Your heart medication is covered. This house has new roof. The warehouse has new equipment. Your family is safe and thriving. That's because of Nina's choice, and because I honor that choice by keeping my promises. Mom was quiet for a long moment. Then, sit. Francesco sat. Mom poured coffee already prepared, probably deliberately to observe how he handled the ritual. Francesco accepted the cup with both hands, the polite Brazilian gesture, and waited for her to drink first before taking a sip. Good instincts. Or Roberto had coached him. Probably both. Nina says you want to build her house in Philadelphia. Yes, guest house on my property. Her space when she visits. Independence while maintaining proximity. That's keeping her close while pretending to give freedom. That's giving her actual space while acknowledging we want to be together. He set down his coffee cup. Senora Collins, I'm not trying to trap your daughter. I'm trying to build relationship that respects both our lives. She has business here, family here. I have business in Philadelphia. The distance is challenge. The house is solution imperfect, but honest. And when distance becomes too much? When she chooses Philadelphia over São Paulo? Then we figure it out together. Gabriel will run operations here eventually. Nina can transition to consulting business Victoria's helping her build. Or maybe I expand more operations to Brazil. Or maybe we fail and end things honestly instead of dragging it out. He leaned forward. I can't promise forever, but I can promise I'll try. And I'll protect her. And I'll never make her choose between her family and me because I understand family is who she is. Mom sipped her coffee, studying him over the rim. You killed people. Not a question. A statement. Yes. How many? Directly? 7. Indirectly through orders? More. I stopped counting. Gabriel inhaled sharply from the doorway. Mom didn't react. You feel guilt about this? About some, yes. About others, no. The 7 I killed directly were trying to kill me or mine. The orders I gave were strategic necessities. I regret the necessity, not always the actions. That's convenient morality. That's survival morality, different thing. Francesco met her eyes steadily. Senora Collins, you want me to pretend I'm good man? I'm not. You want me to promise I'll become good man? I won't. Best I can offer is honest man who loves your daughter and will protect her with everything I have. That enough? Mom set down her coffee cup, stood, walked to Francesco, and slapped him. Hard enough his head turned. Gabriel and I both moved forward, but Mom raised a hand stopping us. Isso é por arrastar minha filha pro seu mundo. That's for dragging my daughter into your world. Francesco touched his reddening cheek, nodded once. Then Mom held out her hand. And this is welcome to family. You hurt her, I hurt you worse. You protect her, I'll tolerate you. We understand each other? Francesco took her hand. Perfettamente. Perfectly. Good. Mom returned to her chair. Now, you stay for dinner. Gabriel, set extra place. Nina, help me in kitchen. Francesco, you sit there and think about what you gotten yourself into. She walked out of the living room like she'd just negotiated a business merger instead of evaluated her daughter's criminal boyfriend. Gabriel stared after her. Nossa mãe é assustadora. Our mother is terrifying. Sim. Francisco rubbed his cheek, smiling slightly. Eu gosto dela. I like her. Dinner was surprisingly normal. Mom had made feijoada, traditional Brazilian stew, hours of preparation. The kind of meal you make for important occasions. We sat at the kitchen table, the same place we'd had family meetings, crisis discussions, celebrations. Adding Francesco to that space should have felt wrong. Instead, it felt right, complete, somehow. Gabriel asked about Francesco's hotels. Francesco asked about Gabriel's classes. Mom told embarrassing stories about me as a child. I kicked everyone under the table at various points. Normal family dinner with distinctly abnormal circumstances. After dinner, Francesco helped clear dishes. Mom supervised critically, occasionally correcting his technique with sharp commentary that made Gabriel snort into his coffee. When the kitchen was clean, Mom said, "Walk with me." She led Francesco into our small backyard garden my father had planted before he got sick, kept alive by Mom's determined care. I watched from the window, not eavesdropping but present. "Mi marido plantó esas árvores cuando Nina nació." My husband planted these trees when Nina was born. Mom gestured at the fruit trees lining the fence. "Ele disse que queria que ela crescesse vendo coisas crescerem. Que entendesse que crescimento leva tempo e cuidado." He said he wanted her to grow up seeing things grow, to understand that growth takes time and care. "Ele parece que era homem sábio." He seems like he was a wise man. Era homem bom que fazia coisas difíceis para proteger família. Como você, talvez. Só que ele era legal e você não é. He was a good man who did difficult things to protect family, like you, maybe. Except he was legal and you're not. Es diferença importante. It's an important difference. Sim. Mom turned to face him. But maybe not most important difference. Most important is, he loved us more than he loved success. More than money, reputation, pride. When cancer came, he used everything to try staying alive, not for himself, but for us. He died broke, but knowing we were okay. That's love. Hoy entiendo. I understand. Do you? She switched to English. Because Nina loves you, I see that. But does you love her more than your empire? More than your operations? If choosing between her safety and your success, which you choose? Francesco was quiet for a moment. Her safety. Always her safety. You say that now. But when moment comes when keeping her safe means losing everything, you still choose her? Yes. How I know you mean that. You don't. Francesco smiled sadly. That's the gamble love requires. You don't know until the moment arrives. But I can tell you, I've spent 8 years building what I have, and I'd burn all of it to keep Nina safe. Maybe that makes me weak. Maybe it makes me different from my father. But it's true. Mom studied him for a long moment, then nodded once. Okay, I believe you. For now. That's all I can ask for. No, you can ask for trust, but trust is earned, not given. She walked past him toward the house, then stopped. Nina is strongest when she feels loved, not when she feels needed. Remember that difference. She went inside, leaving Francesco in the garden with the trees my father planted. I joined him there. That went well, he said. She slapped you. She also invited me to dinner, and gave me relationship advice. I'd call that success. He pulled me close. Your mother is terrifying, and I respect her deeply. She likes you too. She wouldn't have made feijoada otherwise. Good to know physical violence and traditional stew both indicate approval. Welcome to Brazilian family dynamics. He laughed and kissed the top of my head. I could get used to this. To what? Family. Real family, not criminal organization pretending to be family. People who care because they care, not because they're paid to care. He looked at the house, warm lights and windows, Gabriel visible moving through the kitchen, Mom's silhouette in the living room. I haven't had this since before my mother died. You have it now. If you want it. I want it. He tightened his arms around me. I want all of this. You, your family, this life. I want to deserve it. You're trying. That counts. Is it enough? I thought about everything that had happened. The gala, the contract, the investigations, the complications. 6 months of building something impossible against every logical objection. Yes, I said. It's enough. 18 months later, the guest house was finished. I stood in my new living room, my space, built for me, independent but connected, and tried to process how my life had transformed in 2 years. Colin's import-export was thriving. Gabriel ran Brazilian operations with Mom's oversight. I split time between Sao Paulo and Philadelphia, running the consulting business Victoria helped establish. Legitimate success built on criminal infrastructure that I'd learned to navigate without losing myself entirely. Francesco's hotel empire had expanded to 18 properties, all profitable. All legitimate fronts for other operations I deliberately didn't ask about. We'd learned the dance how to love each other, while maintaining enough separation to preserve our individual selves. How to build futures while acknowledging pasts. How to be honest about complications instead of pretending they didn't exist. It wasn't perfect. Nothing about us was perfect. But it was ours. My phone rang. Mom. Nina, você viu as notícias? Nina, did you see the news? Que noticias? O FBI prendeu o rival do Francesco. Aquele que estava tentando tomar os hotéis. The FBI arrested Francesco's rival, the one who was trying to take the hotels. My stomach dropped. When? Esta manhã. Tá em todo lugar. This morning. It's everywhere. I pulled up news on my laptop. There it was. Philadelphia businessman arrested in money laundering scheme. Photos of someone I'd never met being led away in handcuffs. Francesco appeared in my doorway. You heard. Mom called. Francesco, did you? Did I tip off the FBI about my competitor's operations? Maybe. Did I provide evidence of his crimes while keeping my own operations carefully separated? Possibly. Did I eliminate a threat while appearing completely clean? He smiled. Allegedly. That's strategic, efficient, exactly what I needed. He crossed the room, pulling me close. Nina, I told you I'd protect what matters to me. You matter. This business matters. Sometimes protection means offense. By destroying people. By letting people destroy themselves and helping justice find them. He kissed my forehead. I'm not a good man, but I'm a smart one, and I take care of mine. Am I yours? Completely. Have been since you answered that phone call in Portuguese. He smiled. Was there ever doubt? No. There wasn't. From the moment I'd stood in that ballroom and made an impossible choice to save my family, I'd been Francesco's, by contract, by circumstance, and eventually by choice. Complicated, messy, morally ambiguous choice. But mine. I love you, I said. I love you too. He held me tighter. Now, your mother's coming for dinner tonight, right? She is, with Gabriel, and apparently Gabriel's new girlfriend. Perfect. I'll have Victoria order from that Brazilian restaurant your mother likes. Can't have her criticizing my hosting when I'm still recovering from that slap. That was 18 months ago. Still recovering. He grinned. Come on, we have 3 hours before they arrive. Let's pretend we're normal people having normal afternoon before normal family dinner. We couldn't. We'd never be normal. But we could try. And in the end, trying was enough.